We're talking about a revolution. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Democracy Now! Co-host Juan González is home, recuperating from back surgery. Juan, I wanted to ask you about Puerto Rico. For the first time in Puerto Rico's history, a majority of the island's voters supported a non-binding referendum to become a full U.S. state, the measure requiring approval from the U.S. Congress. But President Obama has said he will respect the vote. He made the same promise last year when he visited the island, becoming the first sitting U.S. president in half a century to do so.
Because when I ran for president, I promised to include Puerto Rico, not just on my itinerary, but also in my vision of where our country needs to go. And I'm proud to say that we've kept that promise too. First of all, we've addressed the question of political status. In March, a report from our Presidential Task Force on Puerto Rican status provided a meaningful way forward on this question so that the residents of the island can determine their own future. And when the people of Puerto Rico make a clear decision, my administration will stand by you.
That was President Obama speaking in Puerto Rico last year. Juan González, talk about the significance of the vote that took place and what President Obama has said about respecting the vote.
Well, I think the significance is that Puerto Rico is still grappling with its status as the last major colony of the United States. And this referendum is just another step along the road, but it's not quite as clear-cut as the press reports are making it out to be. Puerto Rico has a very convoluted relationship politically with the United States, and so the parties there operate a little differently. First of all, the amazing thing is, once again, record turnouts in Puerto Rico, 85% of the people voted, much higher than in the United States. And for those of you who worry about long lines, in Puerto Rico, the day before the election is a holiday, the day of the election is a holiday, and the day after the election is a holiday. So it's a three-day holiday, election time in Puerto Rico. So it gives people plenty of time to organize and turn out their votes. But the results here on the referendum are double-edged. On the one hand, the referendum was in two stages this time. This was not authorized by Congress. This is, in essence, a preference vote of the people of Puerto Rico sending a message to Congress, but Congress has no responsibility to abide by it in any way. The first part of the amendment said, are you satisfied with the current status, or do you want a change in status? And in that part of the change, those who wanted to change won decisively. And 900,000 people, about 54% of those who were voting, said that they were not satisfied with the current status. But then there was a second stage, which said, which status would you prefer? And there were, in essence, the choices were statehood, which has always been a choice on these referendums. A new definition called a sovereign free associated state. Not the Commonwealth does not now exist, but some nebulous new entity called sovereign free associated state, or independence. So there were three choices, and you had about 800,000 people voted for statehood, and 437,000 voted for this free associated sovereign state. But another 468,000 cast blank ballots. And then you had 72,000 voted for independence. So when the reports are telling you that statehood won a majority of those who cast a choice, but there was a huge number who voted no because the Commonwealth Party, the existing Commonwealth Party in Puerto Rico, opposed the way that the pro-statehood governor had prepared the referendum. And so it urged its members to cast blank ballots. So there were actually four choices that were made there. There was those who went for statehood, those who went for the new free associated republic, free associated state with sovereignty, those who went for the old Commonwealth, and those who went for independence. The independence people, the statehood people say for the first time, statehood has gotten a majority in any of these referendums. But those on the other side say no. When you add up free associated state, the blank ballots, and they overwhelmingly defeated statehood. To throw another wrinkle into the whole situation, the pro-statehood party, which proposed this referendum, was swept out of office. The governor was voted out of office. The majority in the Senate was voted out of office. The majority of all the the mayoralties were voted out of office of the statehood party. And it looks like the lower house of Puerto Rico will also be of the Commonwealth Party. So the new governor, because Luis Fortuño, the governor who tried to bring in the gas line, the governor who waged the battles against the students at the University of Puerto Rico, the governor who fought the labor unions, he's out. And he was the one who proposed this referendum. So what exactly is going to happen now as the new governor, who is hostile to even this process that Fortuño chose, will do, but the results remains to be seen.
Finally, Juan, as you look at what's happening in this country right now, what was galvanized by the protests of years ago, the mass May Day protests, then the young dreamers sitting in President Obama's campaign officers and other senators and Congress members, the undocubus that went to the Democratic National Convention, where people also got arrested demanding a fair, rational, comprehensive immigration policy. What do you think will happen now? There is supposedly a lot of soul-searching within the Republican Party at this moment because they were so roundly beaten. What is the shape of policy that you see? What are the issues that must be hit to make it a comprehensive, satisfactory policy in this country?
Well, I think what you're seeing is, and I'm glad you mentioned the 2006 protests, because I said back then that was the coming of age of the Latino community in the United States, that series of protests in the spring of 2006. And I'm willing to bet a month's pay that in every one of these elections at the local level across the country this week, there were the young Latinos who were involved in organizing for these political campaigns, that many of them were participants in those protests and were really inspired, many, to get into political activity as a result of the immigrant rights protests of 2006, and the frustration that they have felt now as 6 years have passed and nothing has changed in immigration. So I think that the key thing that is hopefully will come of this new coalition is not only a coalition of people of those who were in the past, whether they were poor or union workers or women or African Americans, Latinos, Asians, and that not only have they now twice elected a president, but now that the policies that the new government, that our new administration and the Congress adopt, speak to those people and provide some of the basic needs and end the gap in growing gap in income inequality and the constant favoritism of government for the needs and interests of the corporations and the wealthy contributors. That's going to be the big challenge. Will Obama, who moved to the left once again to get reelected, what is he going to do now that he's in a position of another 4 years?
Juan González, I want to thank you so much for being with us. And I also want to encourage folks, if you've ever been through what Juan's going through, back surgery with a herniated disc and a pinched nerve, send us what was most successful in helping you ease the pain at stories@democracynow.org. That's stories@democracynow.org. Award-winning journalist Juan González, co-host of Democracy Now!, usually right here in the Democracy Now! Studios, now recuperating from back surgery. Juan, Juan, thanks so much. Among Juan's books, Harvest of Empire, and the film is just come out based on his book called Harvest of Empire, The Untold Story of Latinos in America. We wish you well, Juan. I hope to see you here next.